And good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. Ethan Greenberg here, and along with me are my co-hosts, Megan Donovan, Madison Delaney. Hey, do you know what day it is, guys? Can you take one
Best day of the
guess?
year?
Good call. Good call. We had this discussion a long time ago. The NCAA Division One men's basketball tournament, just the whole March Madness starts today. So that is fantastic. But no, we had Pi Day 3/14. We've got St. Patrick's Day on Friday, March the 17th. But you know what today is? Today is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. Austin 316. Need to get out some beers. Then maybe, drink another beer, do some Stone Cold Stunners. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh man, I should have just whipped some out from under the desk and just.
You should have. That would have been.
I don't know. I can run downstairs and go grab a
Yeah, maybe that'll be for our closing shot, our parting shot.
There we go.
And chug some beers, get it all over the
That'd
place.
That'd be pretty cool, honestly.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Well, welcome once again, folks. We are presented by Buzz Sports CLE. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow Megan, and you can follow Madison at our handles on the that are listed on the screen here. And welcome again. You can subscribe to our channel on YouTube, share it with your friends, send us your comments, like K-Pop 316, baby. Stone Cold from K-Pop. Glad to hear from her. Excellent. And, again, like I said, be sure to share the show with your friends, let them subscribe, all that good stuff here. And we got March Madness. We're going to get to that a little later. This week has been free agency week in the NFL. We'll be talking the Browns a lot. Last night, first thing I wanted to get to was our beloved Cleveland Cavaliers and that game to Philadelphia last night, because that was a bunch of crap. What happened in that fourth quarter? To have the refs call the foul on the floor for Embiid as an offensive foul, which would have been his sixth, and then have to go to call Secaucus and go to the monitors, and then they overrule it. What the hell was that? Thoughts? Comments? Just shaking your head.
I'll let Madison take it away. She's the Cavs person.
I'm still mad. I'm still mad about it. I woke up mad about it this morning. I mean, they're never going to allow Embiid in a nationally televised game. They're just not going to do it, even though probably at least 4, if not all 5 of his other fouls were clear wrap up, just hugging the guy on the other end so they couldn't get a layup up. It's like as textbook of a charge as you could possibly get. It's like if Evan was a guy who flopped and not a guy who should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, then sure. But he's not a guy that flops. He never flops. He probably is down 150 pounds on Embiid. That guy is huge. So to say there was minimal contact. Okay, whatever you guys need to say to sleep at night. You could tell that referee speaking into the microphone didn't believe it. He was kind of apologetically looking, in his eyes, I'm really sorry I have to make this call, but unfortunately, we're going to overrule it. It's okay, sure. Why not? Because that's how these things go. When do we get our superstar calls? That's all I want to know.
Oh, well, exactly. It's not just a Cavs thing. It seems to be a Cleveland thing. It just perpetuates the thinking that the world is just going to crap on Cleveland. We cannot catch a freaking break, whether it's the umpires in the 95 World Series, given the Atlanta Braves the widest strike zone I have ever seen, or the Browns getting a ridiculous penalty, and now you got the I don't know. We just can't catch a break. And we don't know what the result of the game would have been. They probably maybe could have. I don't know. You never know. Without him on the floor, they could have come back. I mean, he's throwing in 3-pointers off the backboard as the shot clock is expiring. That dude is a beast. 36 points, 18 boards, 3 assists, 4 block shots, and 3 assists. The dude is just a beast. And if he doesn't win MVP, I would kind of be shocked. I don't think Jokic is going to get it. And Factory of Sadness for Life, thank you for chiming in here. Pretenders. Yeah, well, for right now, I I'd have to kind of sort of agree. You know, what do you
Fifth
guys?
best, fifth best record in the league. Come on, fifth best.
All right, but let me ask you this though, for argument's sake here, if you're not the best, does it matter?
In this East where people have playoff experience, come on. Come on. They're fifth best in the league. Give them a break. I mean, they're down JA, who's a pretty important person when you're going against a Joel Embiid. But I mean, I wouldn't be too down on them. They're solidly where they should be, in my opinion.
All right. So for this year, we're solidly where we should be, but fifth best ain't getting you nothing.
That's what the playoffs are for.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have a showdown like on Around the Horn between Madison. You and Factory of Sadness for Life can debate this in the playoffs. I think that would be a good show for us here. I mean, the good to take if you want to do a little facts of life theme song here. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them all, and there you have the facts of life. So the bad, obviously, the officiating that sucked. Okay, that just sucked. That we got hosed on that call. The good there, I guess we could say, was Karis LeVert. He seems to be coming around, which is good. He had another good performance. He led the team in scoring, 24 points last night when Garland and Mitchell shot 2 for 14 combined from 3. That's not going to cut it.
And I think that's why you're encouraged, because they did not play particularly well, and we were still in that game down JA. So in my opinion, I'm more encouraged than discouraged from last night, but maybe I'm an optimist.
Well, it's not bad to be an optimist. Factory of Sadness for Life, on the other hand, first round exit. All right, I love it. Because if you have no expectations, you can't be disappointed.
That's the Cleveland motto, I think.
I think it is. I really do. I mean, you want to talk about people with disappointment around, in this area. Madison, and Megan, I'm here in Virginia. I'm in the capital of the city, Richmond, and took the day off work and taking the day off work tomorrow. Got to go watch some basketball. So I was in the bar watching as UVA blew it.
Oh, they really blew it
to Furman. And yeah, I mean, they are going to go down in history as some of the biggest choke artists ever in the NCAA tournament. Being the first 1 seed ever to lose to a 16 seed, losing to UMBC, and now another high seed game losing to Furman. And the way it happened, what was that kid thinking? He's like a 5th-year senior.
Yeah.
And he just heaves oh my God.
I can't remember who was the quarterback. I think it was Carson Wentz. They said it was a Carson Wentz chuck out of the corner there. Sidearm, like prayer, throwing up a prayer. I did think that was funny.
Well, it's kind of like on RBS where they play for the 3rd time today, from his own end zone, a flea flicker into triple coverage. The Browns with Hugh Jackson. That was a classic moment, just a classic moment. Well, on the positive side, like you said, there was, we were doing it without Jarrett Allen, and I'm telling you, I've been suggesting this since this happened. They need to start all wearing goggles because apparently their eyes are not, off limits. And then if you play against the Grizzlies, you better watch out for all your bits and pieces. Did you see the dude, who went around a screen and hit Kevin Love in the nuts?
Yeah, he literally full armed
Exactly. That wasn't even he didn't even attempt to be slick. Really? I thought there was a guy code, a man code that you didn't hit each other in the nuts.
No, ask Chris Paul about that one. There's no code.
Man, that team. And then there was another play on the sideline for the Grizzlies and between the Grizzlies and the Heat where the ball went out of bounds and the Grizzlies player pushed a camera person. What the hell is going on out there? I mean, I'm shocked by the whole thing, the attitude, and it's gotten out of hand. I'm not. That's craziness there. I'd love to get an inside story on that scoop. So yeah, so it was a tough night last night for the Cavs. They've got another game tomorrow night, taking on the Wizards, still fourth in the East right now. Got the 2.5 game cushion on the Knicks. I think we're in like you said, Madison, we're in a pretty enviable position going into the playoffs, assuming we can hold on to the home court advantage. I think the Knicks are going to be tough. Obviously, if Julius Randle starts firing off threes on us, that's going to make life difficult. But if we can at least get some consistency, some kind of support off the bench from LeVert, that would make it great. Let's see here. Now we haven't gotten to this portion of the show yet, but I see two comments here. Firstly, that I missed. I don't know I guess this was back to the conversation we were just having. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Yeah, sometimes you don't. And Dave, and we've got another comment here. Dave Fetzer, if Kent beats Indiana, does Senderoff leave? That is a good question, Dave. I want to save that to the end, so please keep sticking with us here. We are going to get to that. We're going to talk a little Browns here, but that is an excellent question about Coach Sendy and his future at Kent State. So moving forward, it is free agency week, a free agency frenzy here in the NFL. And yes, I'm stealing other people's F terms and whatnot. Wait a second. We got a comment. Get him, Ethan. Knicks blow, not worried. Yes, Tyson, thank you for the comment. Thank you for listening. Appreciate that. That guy, third grade, all the way back to third grade, Fraser Elementary, Mrs. Kaiser's class. Way to go. Thanks for tuning in, Tyson. Appreciate it. And so we shall see about all that stuff going forward. But the free agency frenzy here. So early on, so here's what I've got so far. We have lost, or the players that have left are Chase Winovich, Jacoby Brissett, and Taven Bryan. No big losses there. I mean, Brissett maybe because he's a good veteran to have veteran presence. I like to see him in the locker room. He performed admirably last year and really should have had a record better than 4-7. Certainly could have been better than that. We re-signed, kept Ethan Posick. That is a huge move. We're going to bring Sione Takitaki back. And when he comes off of his injury, that's going to be helpful for the linebackers. He really showed out when they started to put him out there. Really, they needed bigger bodies, and he was making some tackles. I like him. And also cornerback A.J. Green, a guy who's also been pretty solid. The players we have picked up, and we'll go through them individually, in a moment. The first guy we got is Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo, the defensive tackle. He was picked in 2017. He's going to be a defensive lineman. The next big pickup yesterday, we got Juan Thornhill, the safety from the Chiefs. And then late last night, we pick up a defensive tackle from the 49ers, Maurice Hurst. And then this afternoon, we picked up a defensive tackle who played last season with the Cardinals, Tristan Hill. So of those pickups, starting with Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo, the guy from the Texans, Megan, I would say out of the three of us, at least I'm not going to give myself that much credit. You're kind of a Browns expert over there. What are your takes on Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo?
Oh yeah, I was pretty hyped about him. I thought he was one of those guys last season that had a really good end of the season. I think he ended with 5 sacks in his last 6 games with the Texans, and one of those sacks came against Watson, with Watson's first game when he played with the Browns. I know that. So I was pretty hyped when they signed him. He definitely is one of those more fast, quick edge rushers. He's on I would say more of a smaller side. So kind of just get there with your speed more than kind of a Myles Garrett strength. Obviously Myles Garrett's speedy and stronger, but with him, I think he's just kind of he's kind of just built differently as a pass rusher. He's gonna get to the like quarterback with that speed.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I gathered from watching him. And Madison, go to you in a second. His stats last year. Well, first of all, he's a 2018 fifth-round pick of the Rams. Last season, he had it, which was his best season of his career so far. He had 44 tackles, 5 sacks, played in all 17 games. That might be like one of the biggest things that pops out at you there. So
I think he was hurt with the Rams, though. I think he was injured for like.
I believe you are correct. I believe you are correct. So I mean, we've got there's good possibility. Seems like he's on the upswing, and from what I've seen, his comments seems like a pretty positive response by him. Coming into the squad, playing with Myles Garrett. Madison, what did you think of the pickup?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good pressure rate, I think it was. He's like right above Myles Garrett, and he saw just about as many double teams, I think. So you can't double both. I know his sack numbers are maybe not what people would hope they are over his career. He obviously had a better year last year, and he's kind of trending upwards compared to the start of the season. You also add he's got a ring, so that's good. Super Bowl experience is always good on that defense. We added that at a couple levels, which is good. So, I mean, I'm encouraged. I think it's a good thing. We needed D-end help. I think we went out and got it. We have a couple areas, I think, still to fill, which maybe come through trade or the draft. But I think so far off to a good start.
All right. The next guy, and I think as I was going through the list of the players we got, I managed to skip over this dude. This guy might be the literally and figuratively the biggest pickup that the Browns got. Dalvin Tomlinson from the Vikings. This guy, 6'3", 325. He can eat up the defensive, tackles we had in there last season. He's going to be like, and he's just going to have them for lunch and stuff. We needed a run stuffer last year, and we just didn't have it. We don't even necessarily need them to be collapsing the pocket, although that certainly would help. We got killed in the run game. Atlanta running it, 13 times in a row on one drive. I mean, that was crazy to not be able to stop the run last season, including the playoffs. For the Vikings, he had 46 tackles, 2.5 sacks, forced 1 fumble, and had 1 fumble recovery. Played in 13 games last year. And that was actually, from what I could see, because he was with the he was picked in 2017 by the Giants. That was the first year that he didn't play in every game of the season. And overall, his best season for tackles was 2018. He had 59 of them. 2019, 2020, 3.5 sacks each season. And then one other good stat that I saw, I was like, what is this stat? I had never heard of this. He had a career high 6.5 stuffs last season. Have you heard of a stuff? Megan, Madison?
No.
I had to look this up. What is a stuff rate for those of you who are as ignorant as I am? It's the consistency at which a defense tackles the opposing player at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So I'll take it. 6.5 sounds good to me. I love stuffing the running back, and I did not know there was a stat for it. So I thought that might just be tackles for a loss. I don't know.
Probably all that new analytics stuff,
It may very well be. We should have called somebody from the Ivy Leagues to come in and talk to us. Or you guys working in data analysts and such. You guys should go to your companies, talk to the big wigs. I'm sure they could explain it to us. All right. So your thoughts, you guys, on Dalvin Tomlinson added to the middle of the line.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much covered it all. Like you mentioned, we didn't really have like that big true nose tackle position covered last season. I think it pretty much like just kind of solidifies that like interior defensive line position there.
Madison, what are your thoughts on Mr. Tomlinson?
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of debate on Twitter about like whether he's a 2 or a 3 down guy. I mean, it seems to me like the stats back up that he could play for 3 downs. He can get to the quarterback. He can also stuff the run. So, hopefully it pans out. I I feel like I want to be cautious about our free agency signings just because we thought we got one of the best grades when we, like, whatever offseason it was, we picked up John Johnson, and then obviously it didn't really pan out quite the same. And, maybe that's a lot to do with the coordinator. We have a different one now. Obviously he's well known for handling the line and getting them sacked. So I'm encouraged, but I'm cautious, I guess. I want to make sure that they actually play to their potential. I think we've signed a lot of guys that have had good stats backing them, and then they come here and they kind of coast for a paycheck. So let's see how it goes. We did give him a good chunk of money, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that they made the one thing that's kind of been good with Andrew Berry, this season. We had to make a lot of cap space. We had to make that work. So that should have been even where we started here this week. They restructured the Deshaun Watson contract, opened up. It really was like the signing bonus of like 35, 36 million, which opened up about 24 million in cap space because we were already 12 over. And he's been good, and they have done a good job with manipulating the numbers in a good, and using manipulating not in the deceptive way, but obviously talking about it just in the way that they have been able to say, okay, if we can give you less money up front or give you a signing bonus and this, that, and the other, we can all make it all work. So I don't think they're overpaying these guys. See, and they're looking for value. And we could have gone in. We didn't go all in on Javon Hargraves. Everyone wanted Hargraves. Everyone wanted Draymond Jones. We didn't go all in on them. We were there. We were talking with them, but we weren't going to overpay for them. And I think
right.
that's a good move there. So hopefully these moves really bolster the defensive line. When was the last big defensive lineman for the Browns that you guys can think of? For me, the last person I really think of is Sean Rogers back in about 2007 or so. He was great at collapsing the line and blocking kicks.
As like a big dude, I probably would say Danny Shelton. I know he didn't really like, I don't know, he wasn't really like spectacular, but like,
no, he wasn't.
He was like pushing like 400 pounds. Just like just would like throw him in there for a down or two.
Yeah, he gave good hugs according to Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big draft for us. I wish I could remember who else we drafted in that draft. I can't remember if that year.
Was he the same year as Barkevius Mingo?
It very well might have been that. That was. I mean, we have really had some bad draft classes, have we not? The Browns fans have been long suffering when it comes to missing on draft picks. But hopefully this regime is starting to do better with their methodology. So we'll see on that. Madison, did you have any recollections of the last time the Browns had a worthy interior defensive lineman?
No, I really don't. I don't think I do. I can't think of anyone that comes to mind that was like great at this point.
It was Michael Dean Perry back in the 90s. Yeah, there it is. If you can't remember who we draft, that says it all. Yeah, pretty much. It's either that or we're trying to block it out of our memories. We've just erased that and said, oh, no, that never happened. That just never happened there. Okay, so the next big pickup we got yesterday is we bring over safety from the Chiefs, Juan Thornhill, 2019 second-round pick of the Chiefs. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. Last season, including the playoffs, 84 tackles, 1 sack, 3 picks. And last season, the 84 tackles was his best season so far. So, Megan, Madison, your thoughts on Juan Thornhill and how that changes the look of the defensive backfield?
I'm all for it. I thought the safety position was something that was really like just kind of sucked last season. Whether or not you blame the whoever was coaching or just the scheme, but I definitely thought, at least for the last couple seasons, safety was like kind of an issue. I know, like I mentioned like earlier, like I thought like, hey, maybe they could put like JOK back as a safety almost just for to switch it up. But yeah, I mean he's won 2 Super Bowls and hopefully can make an impact.
Yep. Madison, what did you think of the pickup?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another one. Again, I think I'm hesitant with the John Johnson thing because we tried to kind of fit a square peg in a round hole, and it wasn't exactly his position. I think he probably fits better into that defensive backfield maybe than John Johnson did. Obviously we have a different coordinator now, so hopefully he will figure out the best way to use him where maybe we weren't doing that with John Johnson. It's not like John wasn't talented. Like he came off of a Rams team where he was very good. So we kind of didn't play him in his best role. So hopefully we do that here, and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, it's never a bad thing to add someone with Super Bowl experience, in my opinion, especially when that's where you want to go. So let's get some guys in who have been there and can teach the younger guys how it's done.
Well, the been there, done that type of factor, and winning. What is it? Winning. No, that. I think I'm getting my quotes wrong. I'm not so good with quotes. I get those wrong all the time, so I'm just going to shut up while I'm ahead. No, you mentioned something as we've been talking about these players that we don't know where the blame was last year, whether it was the players or the coaches. And we're really going to see, the proof is going to be in the pudding this year. Let's see what happens with a different coach back there, running the show, the Jim Schwartz versus the Joe Woods. The last 2 years of Joe Woods has just been a complete crap show. And I can't imagine it will get much worse. I got to imagine there's going to be some improvement, and guys won't be running wide ass open all the time. And you won't have guys pointing at each other and saying, "No, what are you doing?" That's not a good look. That's not a good look here. Couple other pickups here. These guys are more. It's more defensive line help. It's just getting some bodies in the building. Last night we signed defensive tackle Maurice Hurst from the 49ers. He was a 5th round pick in 2018 by the Raiders. Last season, he was coming off of, if I read correctly, he was coming off of a torn biceps injury. He only played in 2 games for the 49ers, had 2 tackles. Back in 2019, though, he did have a career high 3.5 sacks, 1 interception. So, I'm going to lump him in with the last guy, where I say this is low risk, possible high reward. We picked up today former 2nd round draft pick of the Cowboys in 2019. He played for the Cardinals last year, defensive tackle Tristan Hill. Again, low risk, high reward. There really were no stats on that dude. He hadn't done squat. So I don't have much.
Right.
Yes. I mean, I looked it up. I'm like, okay, I got nothing on this guy. It's like, I'll have to, do a major league and I'll have to cross him off the list. No, it'll be interesting to see what these guys do. A lot of comparisons you guys can give your own that I have heard and would agree with are when we had the Maliks. We had Malik McDowell in the middle that we picked up. Wasn't he the guy from originally played at like maybe Michigan State, got in some off-field trouble. So we brought him in and he did all right. And then he went down to Florida and I don't know, was he running around naked with a gun or something?
Running around naked.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's not good for anybody. That is not good for anybody. But when we look at this and we talk about the, stacking up all these players in the middle, what do we think the rotation is going to be like? Let's look at our so we needed to replace one end. We've got Garrett, and now we have added Ogbonnia.
Yeah.
Obeezy, that's his nickname. Obeezy, it's easy. OBZ's his nickname. It's easy to say.
Oh, okay. I had no idea, but I went. You remember we did have the running back Chris Ogbenaya. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can remember Ogbenaya, no problem. So Ogbenaya, Okoronkwo, and I think I saw somewhere they were talking about it on Twitter. He's wants to wear 7, so he's gonna be like 007. That's pretty awesome. I'm down with that, and I'd be all up. Look, we got JOK, we got 007. I mean, I really just want WIN, but at least if we have good nicknames, you win the day. But so we needed another end. We get Ogbenaya, and we got Garrett, and then what's left in the middle? I guess we're gonna have Tomlinson, and who do we got? We have Winfrey is an interior lineman.
And we have
Togiai, Jordan Elliott.
We got rid of Chase Winovich, so
right. So I mean, there's not.
Yeah.
And then so did we say Isaac Wright and was it Alex Smith?
Alex Wright.
Alex Wright. That's it. Okay, I got you. Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
And Alex Wright. Okay, got it. I apologize. My memory is fading here. But is it a matter of those guys were not good enough, and Jim Schwartz is like, you guys got to get some help? Or is it a matter of, look, we just need to bring in bodies here before the start of the summer, before training camp? We need to have competition, and we'll see where it all falls out. We just give these guys some minimal deal, and it's probably not even guaranteed. So, what do you guys think?
I would go more towards like just it wasn't enough. I don't know like what, but I kind of thought they were a little disappointed in the whole like in Tommy Togiai and Perrion Winfrey. I think they may have like saw like, hey, they thought they could get a little bit more out of them. I thought Elliott played really, really well towards the end of the season, kind of like one of those like late bloomers, caught on. He had some really good games. I know he had a really good game, the Christmas Eve game, or Christmas Christmas Day, whatever Christmas it was. But yeah, I think those guys it's a little concerning. You got to give them a benefit of a doubt. They kind of got thrown in as rookies or first years, whatever. But hopefully,
I hear you.
Keep it up.
Yep. So we shall see how this all plays out. So the offseason fun continues. Free agent frenzy. I kind of also took a look to see what was going on with our division rivals. I know the Steelers, I believe they signed somebody today, so I apologize if I've left this out. But, when I was looking at the notes earlier and reading things, they retained Ogunjobi, Larry Ogunjobi, and they also retained DeMonte Casey. They signed guard Nate Herbig. They added Patrick Peterson. He's a cornerback, and linebacker Cole Holcomb. But they lost cornerback Cameron Sutton. I don't know. It's nothing earth-shattering that they have done. Maybe what I saw is I think they might reunite with Bud Dupree. He left, went to Tennessee, and they might get him back. I don't know that it's nothing splashy. I think, would you guys agree that it's kind of meh, kind of vanilla?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, hey, whatever.
It's nothing where we're going, oh my God.
I'm not like, oh man.
Right. It doesn't put the fear of God in you. You don't go, oh crap, now look what we have to contend with on their defense. So they're not adding some I know Patrick Peterson's good, but they're not adding a bunch of all pro talent there.
He's a little older though now. He's not quite as good as he once was.
Right. So yeah, there you go. The Ravens, they released Calais Campbell. Again, he's a bit up there in years. You trade Chuck Clark to the Jets. They did sign a running back, Justice Hill. They did go ahead and sign their own. That one of their own. They signed Tyler Huntley to a tendered contract. They signed, I believe it's a linebacker. My typing was off there. Delshawn Phillips, and then you've got the Lamar Jackson situation. And do you guys think that kind of the longer this drags on, the worse it is for Baltimore? I'm hearing,
Probably.
I'm seeing nodding heads here. So yes, yes, absolutely. No, I mean, he is play the you can go without an agent, but it's one of those things where the agent can really act as the conduit
Yeah.
to all these people, and when they've got other clients, they can make life easier for you. They can say, hey, this guy gets this, and then I'll recommend, steer this guy over here, blah, 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 blah. And he kind of makes it difficult on himself. It would be very interesting to find out what front offices are truly thinking about Lamar Jackson and his value. Madison and I, we talked about this last week, the players that got paid. You got Daniel Jones getting paid. You got Derek Carr getting paid. Who else did we mention last week, Madison, if you can recall, that in the quarterback carousel that earned their money, or didn't even earn it per se, but are going to receive their money?
Who's the other one? Derek Carr.
Baker? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, and that's where, and I wanted to go there. You beat me to it, Madison. Yeah, you beat me to it.
You put it on a platter. I had to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Baker Mayfield, he's not even making as much money as Jacoby Brissett. He goes down to Tampa.
Who did Garoppolo go to?
Oh, yeah, Jimmy G's the other one.
That's right.
But that one just happened. That one just happened. He is going to the Raiders and reuniting with Josh McDaniels. I would say, I don't know how long McDaniels is going to last in Vegas. He has not.
You better have a good year.
Yeah, he has not been very successful as a head coach.
Yeah.
Either when he was in, he started off strong in Denver and then fell off a cliff. And with the Raiders, it's kind of the same thing. I don't get it. I'm kind of glad that the Browns never ended up with him. Maybe he's glad he didn't end up with us, but we'll take it from our perspective here.
He reminds me of like a Pat Shermer. Terrible head coach, but great like coordinator.
Right. And he might very well
be the other one. Geno Smith.
Oh yeah,
Geno Smith. That's right. And I can't believe that guy's getting paid. But you know what? That NFC is looking a lot easier than the AFC. The AFC basically has every good quarterback. The NFC, I don't know what, they don't have guys that have proven it every single year. Or they're good in the regular season, not so good in the postseason, like Cousins or Prescott. Murray has been injured. He's busy playing whatever game he plays that I can't even think of the name of. But he's online. Bottom line, he's playing video games. Okay, when he's supposed to be studying his playbook, which was the funniest thing ever when they wrote the contract, and basically we're like, you got to spend X number of hours, going through the playbook. That was hilarious. How bad is that when they're calling you out in your contract? So yeah, and then we've got the Baker Mayfield thing with Tampa Bay. My question is this: are they trying to tank?
100%.
Are they going to go? Yeah, I mean, are they going to go into a fire sale mode?
Watch Baker just light it up.
I mean, I would say now they kept Todd Bowles, correct, as coach?
Yeah.
Okay, he stinks. He is not a good head coach. They were horrible last year, and I don't think they've done much of anything to make that team better going into next season. So I think that could be, maybe Mayfield will have a good year, but I don't think simply because of the division he's in. I mean, look, that division, Tampa Bay, the Panthers, who will
We'll have a
probably
rookie.
be, will be led by a rookie. Then you've got the Saints. They probably are going to look best. They've got Derek Carr. And the Falcons, led by Desmond Ridder. So that's a wide open division there, but I wouldn't expect anybody to get a wild card at this point. I think it's going to be your division winner, and that's it out of the NFC South. So we shall see. What do you make of the Aaron Rodgers fiasco? Madison, I know you've had some strong takes on Twitter. Share your thoughts here.
I'm just very over Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean, I don't buy any of his, like, I mean, I know he's like, I'm not the victim, but then he goes out and basically says he's the victim. Like, I mean, you sign the contract, it's on you. If they don't want to trade you for whatever the Jets are offering, then that's their prerogative. They get to do that because you signed the contract. And the fact that he went into his darkness retreat, 90% retired, came out and saw, like, oh, they want to trade me. Oh, I want to play now because I'm petty. And that's how I am. Like, I don't like any of it. I think the Jets are frankly dumb because he's older. He's not getting any younger, and he's making you sign all these old receivers. When you have a good young core that's actually quite talented, and you don't have room for all of them. So hopefully we can take advantage of that. Maybe get one of those young receivers off their hands.
That'd be nice. Man, what did you think when you saw this jackalope appear on Pat McAfee?
Oh man, like Madison said, I'm just tired. I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers. He acts like a 12-year-old Dutch girl.
Okay,
And
I have never heard of that.
Just retire, man. I'm over with the theatrics. Like, I don't know. If anyone needs to like go into like a 4-day dark room, it would be me. I would need to go in and like contemplate my life. Like, we are the people that need to go and do that, not Aaron Rodgers.
A very good point. It's a very good point because I mean we've definitely got more to contemplate. We've got more worries than that clown does.
Right? Like, come on, man.
Well, I mean, he starts his career, and I can understand. I think it was kind of humbling for him to have to get picked later than anybody expected, and then to have to sit behind Brett Favre and watch Brett Favre do the I'm going to retire, I'm not going to retire, I'm going to unretire, whatever that nonsense was, until they finally, finally it was his turn. And he's a fantastic quarterback, but he's 39 years old. I mean, we saw Brady, I think last year was kind of, I mean, was he 43 last year? I don't remember Brady's exact age, but it seemed like last year was not good physically. And really the season before, not tremendous either way. I mean, he's barely moving around. So I don't know what version of Aaron Rodgers they're really going to get. I mean, it feels like once you start, climbing up on 40, man, those bones start aching and screaming at you every day, and doing all the things we used to do are not so easy. So I'll be real curious to see, but it would be epic. It would be epic if the Packers pulled a major screw job on the Jets. It would be awesome.
I would wish. Time is a flat circle, though. Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers being in the exact same boat, and it's just funny because he's handling it the exact same way.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And what's the deal with golly, I lost it. I had it and I lost it. Zach Wilson. I mean, how can you bounce back from this mentally? If something happens and Rodgers doesn't come there, or even if Rodgers comes there and he sits behind him, how does he bounce back from this mentally? They're basically
he goes and sleeps with one of his mom's friends again. How you bounce back, brother?
Yeah, maybe that's his revenge. He goes on, they have the revenge adult films. Maybe he goes and does that. He's like, "Where's A-Raj? Where's his mom?" No, that guy, he's too pretty. Looks like he needs, he can't even shave yet. I don't know what's
That
up with
was the rumor, though.
I know.
That was the rumor. It's just a
That's like all
callback.
he did. He just banged his mom's friends.
Nice. That is nice. Well, he can go behind the Cheesecake Factory in Cleveland.
There you go.
and wait a second here to follow up on what you said, Megan. Rogers is at best a 12-year-old Dutch girl. Nice. K-pop, love it.
100%.
Love it. So, all right. So that's the free agent frenzy here. I know there was a lot of people. So if we circle back around to close this out, what's left? What do we need? Is there anybody out there that is worth paying for to fill the other voids, such as wide receiver, linebacker, anything you guys, any free agents that are still sitting out there that you've seen?
Linebacker, possibly Miles Jack. I saw that was kind of the way that. I'd be all right with it.
I mean, I'd take a flyer on him. Madison, have you seen any names out there that have been jumping off the sheet for you?
Well, I think our new safety has been recruiting a wide receiver from Kansas City, McCole Hardman, which, he's fast, little inconsistent, or he would probably catch on in Kansas City, but, we need some speed. It's better than what we have in Anthony Schwartz. So let's give it a chance, draft somebody, hopefully at 42. I mean, I think that's what we picked, 42. I've been living in mock draft land, so hopefully that's right. I've done enough of them that it should be right. Maybe we do make a trade for wide receiver, maybe the more likely path. There's not a lot of free agent wide receivers out there, and not a lot signing for high numbers like last year in the offseason. So potentially we could get Hardman at a deal, which would be best, I think, given his production hasn't exactly matched, but he's still a better option than what we have. So I wouldn't mind seeing him in a Browns uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I have reached out to him. I have given him the invite to come on our show. I have sent out the invite to him. Maybe I'll get a response. Maybe I won't. Probably not. I've even reached out to Myles Garrett. Okay.
Love it.
It's like, I got no shame. I'll reach out. I know I'm probably one of a million people to do it, but hey, you don't know unless you try. So yeah, we shall see what comes here in the coming weeks as we lead up to the draft. So the other big thing going on, as we talked about here and touched on, is we got the March Madness happening here. So today, day one. Well, actually not day one. And this is something, should you count a team winning in the first four as winning an NCAA tournament game?
No,
Madison,
to me.
I would say no. I don't even
I don't think it is.
to them.
Right. Well, but exactly. You don't pay much attention to them. You didn't even make the tournament. It's like, well, we couldn't decide, so we're going to give you this between you two losers. We're going to give you a chance to get in. I mean, granted, they're not all 16 seeds, but again,
and someone always makes it. Someone always makes it to the second weekend from that group.
Amazingly enough, I mean, VCU's run to the Final Four was crazy here, going from the first four to the Final Four. That was just nuts. So I don't know if I would count that as an NCAA win, but apparently they do, and I'm not, whatever. My opinion matters not. So far today, we have seen the upset. We touched on it a little bit here, seeing Furman upset Virginia, trailing basically the entirety of the game, and then to have Clark throw the ball away at the end was ridiculous. And they still had a timeout left. And
not very smart.
No, that was not an intelligent basketball play. Then shortly before we got going here, we saw Princeton upset a 2-seed Arizona. I saw on Twitter The president filled out his bracket. Yeah, he had Arizona winning it all. So I don't believe he is going to win that one.
There goes his bracket.
Exactly. It's day one upsets like this that made me stop doing brackets because it's so upset. It was just so frustrating to have that happen. But now I can appreciate it because it's like it matters not. I'm like, okay, this is just cool. Unless it's our team getting knocked out, I mean, I've seen Oral Roberts did a number on Ohio State a few years back as a 15 seed over a 2 seed. Doesn't appear that's going to be the case here against Duke tonight. I know that disappoints you, Madison.
God, I'm so upset that this 7'4" kid keeps taking threes. I have been beside myself. And they're the third leading scoring team in the nation, but they can't get a bucket. I'm upset, but it's fine.
I was figuring there might be a mercy rule at some point with them in their inability to score for over 8 minutes to begin the game. That was not pretty. But tomorrow night, relative to us, I mean, first of all, the only 2 Ohio schools to make it into the big dance are Kent State and Xavier. So for our sakes and our relevance, we're talking KSU. Kent State made it through the MAC tournament, and they outscored Toledo, which is amazing. I mean, Toledo was like the number 2 scoring team, points per game in the country, averaging over 80 points a ball game. And they got some talent there. But Kent State wins, and they were gifted a 13 seed. Woohoo! And get to play Indiana University up in Albany, New York. And we're in the last group of 4 tip-off times tomorrow night. So it's going to be a rough one tomorrow. But at least Saturday we can sleep in. I'll either be very upset, all when I go to sleep on Friday night, tomorrow night, or I'll be elated and hard to contain. But this is amazingly enough, third time that Kent State has played Indiana in the NCAA tournament, and it's been a while since they've been there. They were there back in 2017. Megan, did that coincide with your tenure at Kent State?
It did. We played UCLA
with Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that was so when you don't get there very often, because the MAC is since 1999 they haven't had more than one bid. It makes it, you obviously cherish the opportunities when they come your way and you get through the gauntlet. And I listened to Coach Senderoff on the Really Big Show this week, and he talked about the scheduling and how they really would have needed to have won one of their big 3 games against Gonzaga, College of Charleston, and Houston. All 3 in the tournament. Houston, number 1 seed. Gonzaga, I believe, is a 2 seed, in College of Charleston. In the field there, they had a tough loss this afternoon. Played hard and kept it real close against San Diego State. But they didn't get they played tough, true road games, didn't get the win. So, I talked with Trevor Huffman about the matchup and his thoughts on it. From the elite, from his perspective, being on the team that went to the Elite Eight, and he was concerned about the size differential. Now, Matt, and we see this, and we're seeing these lower seeds, these smaller schools, the mid majors like Kent State, have to go up against these teams with much more size. What do you do to combat the size difference there, Madison?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways, I think. Obviously, if you're a strong 3-point shooting team, threes are more than twos, right? So anytime you can shoot more threes, that's one option. The other option, and I can't remember who it was, somebody kind of employed this option earlier today, is to put some soft pressure on. Not necessarily going for steals in the backcourt, but just to kind of slow down the pace so they can't really get into their offense until under 15, under 20 seconds in the shot clock. is another way to do it. So they're not working the ball around quite so much. Obviously, you have double teams. Most of these big guys now can pass out of those, so your rotations have to be really tight. But that is kind of one way that, like, I feel like the press is not really something you typically think about as an option for slowing down teams that are bigger than you. But it certainly is an option if you can't run your offense the way you normally would. And to take some time off, you give more opportunity for turnovers, less opportunities for one-on-ones in the post. So that is an option. And then typically to play fast, because when they're big, they don't typically want to run. So that's another chance to kind of get out and take advantage and not let the guys get back to, defend you. Like Lively for Duke is just eating Oral Roberts alive, just blocking everything presently. So that's another thing.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, do you need to employ, is it better to try and go to a 2-3 zone? Is it better, or does that leave you too wide open when it comes to rebounding and giving up second chance shots?
Yeah, it's always harder to rebound out of a zone. So, I mean, as long as you practice it, it's one thing. I wouldn't probably go 2-3. I would probably mix it up with something that's a little more atypical. A zone is always an option, but nowadays, especially when you're playing the top teams, like they typically have guys on the outside that can shoot. So you have to be aware of that and conscious of that. But yeah, I mean, mixing it up too, like off a make, we go zone, off a miss, we go man, and like trying to keep people on their toes, maybe a little bit of matchup zone, something like that, something that'll make them think about what the offense is that they need to run. Is always, a good kind of offsetter, I guess, to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position where they at least have to think more about what they're doing and you can kind of focus more on playing.
So the big obstacle. So when we went to UCLA and played in the tournament last time, they had Lonzo Ball, and I don't even remember who else they had, but we didn't have enough. The big gun for Indiana is senior Trace Jackson Davis. This guy leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. So that's tough. Madison, your thoughts, and I think this is just a general sports thing, but in basketball, when you are the underdog and kind of looking at what we've seen so far today, neither of the, in those upsets that occurred, neither of those teams came out and really grabbed control of the game. More so, they just kept it close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Kent State to beat Indiana, is it basically, I don't know how much you've watched of them, if any at all, just with us talking about it. Like, what do you think their magic recipe would be to overtake, Indiana?
Yeah, I will say I did pick them mostly because of y'all's ties to Kent State more than real actual basketball knowledge. Plus, I love an upset. I always root for an underdog. Keeping it close is a big part of it because the top teams start to get nervous. No one wants to be that team that loses to the higher seed. And so towards the end of the game, they can start to tighten up. I think UVA is a really great example of that. Like, you've got a guy, I think he's won a national title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's making a play that a freshman would make. Like, he's not that player. He's smarter than that. He knows they have a timeout, or he should. And he turns the ball over because you're thinking, this can't happen again. Like, that's already happened to them. They've already lost to a 16 seed. So, you put it in their heads that like the possibilities there that they might be able to lose. And then I think the real key, in my opinion, is not panicking as an underdog. Because a lot of times you get close, you make the big run, like you're down by 2, 3, whatever, you're, within a possession. And then they panic and they do something out of character because they're trying to push to make a play. Like, you've got to kind of still play within yourself. That's like the big thing for underdogs. And what I look for when I try to make picks for underdog teams is like, all right, who's going to try to step outside themselves and make a play, that they're not typically making, and who's going to run the offense and make the right play. And that's the team I usually try to go with.
Fair enough. So that's going to be tough. Vegas is saying when I, picked the money line. I picked Kent State, but I think Kent State is a 4.5-point dog. As
That's
of
not bad though. 4.5, not bad.
no,
It's
not
doable.
bad at all. We'll see. I mean, Sincere Carey has had another great campaign, and like I was saying earlier when I talked to Trevor Huffman, he was talking about size, and so we'll see how the bigs do because they're going to need that guy Chris Payton to really step up, and it might just be a platoon effect, type of thing, so that they don't foul out. That would be good as well. They can't foul as much. They certainly did a lot of that in the MAC tournament. Now, I wanted to go back to an earlier question here from Dave Fetzer. Dave, thanks for sticking with us. He said, if Kent beats Indiana, does Senderoff leave? Now, we have seen Kent State, when they have been successful previously, at least winning a game in the tournament. Gary Waters coached the team to their first NCAA tournaments and their first NCAA tournament victory over Indiana. And then Stan Heath came in to replace Waters the next season. They go to the Elite Eight, and then Stan Heath leaves for a larger school, a bigger opportunity. So I'll give my 2 cents on this. Senderoff has been there for a long time, and he had an opportunity. Previously he was part of Kelvin Sampson's staff at Indiana. They ran into some problems there with recruiting, and my heart would say that he wouldn't leave, but my head says that if they were to win even a game, if they beat Indiana, I think someone's going to come and look for him, and it would be in his best interest to take an opportunity. So that is my thought. Did you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, because Rob.
I did. I worked with him for 4 years.
Right. So you kind of have an idea of what his personality is and whatnot. So
terrible personality.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Was he nice or was he just an ass?
He was just like he was like the most, I don't know, he's just like the most, like, when you talk to him about anything, he just was like very like miserable.
Oh, okay. I know
like
that.
Just like had nothing good to, like, every time you just be like, hey coach, and you'd be like, yeah, all right, that sucked. Yeah. I'm just like, all right.
Resting sad face.
I don't know, whatever. No, good guy though. I could definitely see it. I feel like, he had like some really, really like good year, like the year they played UCLA, and then you kind of thought they were going to be a repeat in the MAC tournament,
right?
And they just had some issues with like those teams for those 3 years, and I think now he's got a good team in place, and I would say like this would be the year that if he's probably getting some looks at.
Gotcha. Okay. So hope we answered your question, Dave. Good question. Appreciate it. Appreciate you watching the show and listening to us. All right. So real quick, last week, Madison and we had a discussion about best chain restaurant breakfast. We were talking some chain restaurant breakfast.
Right.
And Factory of Sadness for Life was commenting about the Crunch Wrap and Taco Bell. So I thought, all right, let me quickly think about some of the places that we might go for fast food, for breakfast, fast food wise, and get your rankings. And this is the list. Okay, we've got Dunkin' Donuts, and they're more than they're just Dunkin' now because they've got everything. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Hardee's, Taco Bell, and Chick-fil-A. Do you have a top of the list and a bottom of the list?
Top of the list is Dunkin'.
All right.
I I don't even know like a bottom of the list because I very rarely like get fast food breakfast. So I have no idea. I'm just gonna go with like Wendy's. I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna let Aaron Goldhammer know you said that because you gotta go to get their croissant. Oh,
Uh,
it's Flemmy croissants.
like
Fantastic.
if I go to Wendy's, I'm only going there for like chili
Baconator?
or like a spicy chicken sandwich.
Right on. Spicy
Oh,
chicken.
it's so good.
It is. It is good. Madison, do you have a top of that list and a bottom there to your list? And where does Taco Bell, if it's not at the top or the bottom, where does it fit for you?
Yeah, I mean, Chick-fil-A is for sure at the top for me. I literally had Chick-fil-A for breakfast this morning. I was coming off a dentist appointment, a routine cleaning, naturally had to ruin
Okay.
it with some Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
Bottom, I want to say Taco Bell, but I honestly feel like it's like Hardee's. Like I didn't even really know that they had breakfast, if I'm being honest. But Taco Bell would be like the next up from the bottom. So second to last, I think, for me.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna say that of the, really my go-to if I'm going to any of these places for breakfast, it would probably be Dunkin'. One, you're generally getting a clean place. They do have good coffee. I'm not much into chicken biscuits, so I don't know if that would be
Yeah.
the only reason I wouldn't necessarily put Chick-fil-A up at the top. And then if I had to go to the bottom, I mean, it would be a showdown, a throwdown of sorts between Hardee's and Taco Bell, probably for the bottom. Although at one point Hardee's did make some pretty good biscuits, and Taco Bell, well, it's still Taco Bell, and I'm like, I think I talked about this a long time ago. They got to stay in their lane. And now wait a second. We've got commentary. How dare you? Taco Bell breakfast crunch wrap is elite. So K-pop and Factory of Sadness for Life have both put us in our place about Taco Bell.
We need
All
to
right, so
try it, I guess.
apparently we need to, but I don't trust most of their like lunch and dinner food. I'm not gonna lie, I have eaten it, quite frequently. There were some sad days there, but I've thought better of it now. I have thought better of it, so we'll go for that. All right, and now, as per the usual, wanted to get to a little quick yay or oy vey on the quarterback carousel. Just get your thoughts here. Let's start with Derek Carr to the Saints. Are we thinking yay or oy vey? And I guess from the perspective of, do they have a chance to succeed there? Is that a good move? Megan, yay or oy vey, Derek Carr to the Saints?
I'll go yay.
Go yay. All right.
Yeah, I'll give the guy another shot.
I mean, he can't be much worse than last year, Andy Dalton.
Right.
And the Andy
Except
Dalton.
they beat us, so.
Okay, we're not even going to talk about that
Yeah.
poor coaching job and people dropping the damn ball.
They beat us in negative 22-degree weather, so.
A dome team. Team. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Madison, what say you? Derek Carr to the Saints, yay or oy vey?
Yeah, I'll say I think yay. At this point, he's the best quarterback in that division until the Panthers draft CJ.
All right, I'm also going to give him a yay. I think he deserves a shot there. I mean, I don't see him as like in the top tier of quarterbacks. He hasn't won a playoff game. But I don't know. But I think he deserves a shot there. I don't know what the rub was with him and Josh McDaniels. Not sure about that, but I'm going to go yay for Derek Carr being added to the Saints. Next, your best friend and mine, all of our best friend, moneymaker, touchdown maker Baker, going to Tampa Bay to follow up Tom Brady. Madison, we'll go to you first. Baker Mayfield to the Yuccaneers, yay or oy vey?
I will take a different perspective in that it's a yay because Tampa's just trying to tank for the quarterback for USC, where the guy from Oklahoma,
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that's their end goal, and they're going to get there, I think, with Baker. If it's not Kyle Trask, to be honest, I don't know that Baker outright wins that job.
That's sad. That is really sad. How far the mighty have fallen. Megan, your thought: Mayfield to the Buccaneers, yay or oy vey?
I'll go yay.
All right. Well, he's down in Florida. We don't play them at all this year, so
Thank
all
God.
I guess I'm going to say at least he went somewhere where potentially he's going to start. But best of luck to you. Don't let the door hit you. You know how that saying goes. All right. Megan, to you first. Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders. Jacoby Brissett, yay or oy vey to the Commanders?
Oh man, I'm so sad to see him go. I'd love
Right.
him, but he what a great guy. So I'll say yay. I mean, good for him. He really showed a lot this season, and he deserves everything.
I agree. Madison, your thoughts, yay or oy vey?
Yeah, I will probably go oy vey just because I don't know that he really has a chance to start there because it sounds like they're really trying to push Sam Howell, and I feel like he earned a shot to start. But he got paid, so and maybe they do lean his direction once the season starts, and he kind of teaches Sam Howell. But I would have liked to see him play, and maybe he still does, but it just feels like maybe he won't there, and I'd like to see him play.
Okay, fair enough. I was thinking, I thought about the Sam Howell aspect, and I was thinking, okay, I think that Riverboat Ron might give him an opportunity, at least to start the season. But again, it might just depend on how Howell shows up at training camp and in the preseason. It'll certainly be interesting. But we know Jacoby, a good teammate, obviously coming to a tough situation in Cleveland last year. You wish him nothing but the best. I mean, obviously, if they were playing us, we wouldn't want to hurt him, but we would not be wishing him well. I think we can all make a consensus. Aaron Rodgers, we can all say oy vey on the Aaron Rodgers fiasco, or could we say yay because we don't like the Jets and we want to see someone get screwed?
I'll go oy vey.
All right, Megan, would you go oy vey on the Aaron Rodgers fiasco?
Yeah, I'll go oy vey. I don't think any team deserves to have to deal with Aaron Rodgers' BS.
All right, fair. I like that. All right, and the last one on my list is the Panthers. We don't know who their quarterback is, but they made the trade with Chicago to get the number 1 pick. They're going to take a quarterback. Madison, your vote is for CJ Stroud. Do you think they made the right move by pushing all the chips into the middle of the table to trade up with Chicago to get that pick? Are you yay or oy vey on their potential quarterback?
I think I'm a yay, but it depends on who they pick. Like if they try to go Anthony Richardson, I feel like he would have been there at 9 or wherever they were going to pick. And then you're kind of looking a little dumb to me. But I mean, he was an athletic specimen. So maybe he does go earlier just on the potential. But I'm a yay because I mean, I think if it's good for CJ. I think that's probably the best of the quarterback needy places to land. They have a great defense. They're not super far away. I mean, it depends on how the coach does, of course, with the group this year. But they're the closest, in my opinion, of places where you could go and maybe not just totally get killed as a rookie. So hopefully it's a good move and they make a good decision. I don't see them going to Bryce. It seems like he's too small. So we'll see what they do. It's exciting for the Carolinas, though. So yay for sure.
Yeah, Megan, do you have any thoughts? Yay or oy vey on the Panthers' move to number 1 to get their guy?
I'll go. I got no complaints.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I think that's the right move. I know it cost them a lot of draft capital, but we've seen it. You can't win unless you've got your quarterback. So with that ends another fantastic segment of Yay or Oy Vey. And now we move on to going nuclear. Megan or Madison, whoever would like to go first, if something has you going nuclear this week.
Madison, you can go first.
I can go first. So, I did go to the Cavs Hornets game on Sunday, which was great. I found out on my way home my parents couldn't watch the game, even though we both have League Pass. They don't let you watch games that are quote unquote local, so they're played on Valley Sports South or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I gotta make a plan for Tuesday. So I'm like, all right, I'll just download the Valley Sports app. I'll, watch the game, cancel it after my free trial, like we won't end up paying for it. So I go to sign in and I, subscribe to their Valley Plus or Valley Sports Plus, whatever their package is. And then I go to the app and I'm like, okay, cool, we're ready to go. So I click on the game and it's like, you need a subscription. And so I click the subscription. It's like, you're already subscribed. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, okay, go back to the subscription page. I go back to the subscription page. It's like, you're not subscribed. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I hit Twitter, right? And I'm like, okay, what's going on, Valley Sports? Like, I'm just trying to watch a game and I can't even get in at all. And I can't try to upgrade. I can't cancel because it doesn't acknowledge my subscription. And so, it's of course halftime before they reach back out to me. And by the end of it, I'm like, I just want to cancel. I don't need it anymore. I'm not going to watch any other games. And so now I feel the pain of everyone else who's been dealing locally with Cleveland trying to watch Valley Sports. NBA League Pass has been great when you're out of market. I don't have the same problems, but I now know what you're going through, and it is the worst.
Yeah, that's pretty painful. No wonder they are falling into financial woes and bankruptcy. That would have me going nuclear as well. Megan, what has you going nuclear this week?
Let's see.
If anything.
No, you guys are gonna think I'm like a total hillbilly after I tell this story.
Hey, it's all good. We got no judgment over here.
I'm just gonna grab the 2 beers and no, I'm just kidding. All right. So my parents, they have a horse farm,
Right.
And they got a pretty bad groundhog problem right now. And I mean, these suckers are going under the indoor riding arena and digging holes, Ooh. And I mean, you're your horse is one step away from getting taken out to pasture and put down because they break their leg in a hole. So I mean, these little buggers, I'm just going out there with a 22 and just picking them all off.
Yes, that's awesome.
Picking them off one by one. You just gotta load it up and have at it.
All right. I'm going to call you Carl Spackler from now on from Caddyshack.
Hell yeah.
Little gopher gut. Yeah, that is crazy. And I that is definitely something to have you going nuclear. That fits the bill. Right.
I mean, I had the eye pain and all. I was camoed up.
You really are Carl Spackler. I am loving that. I am definitely loving that. I'm all about that. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. That would have me going nuclear for sure. So this is something that is just, I don't even know. I saw this headline and I'm reading it and I actually pulled up a court document. Did you guys see the headline where there's a guy who has gotten some attorney to take a class action suit against Buffalo Wild Wings for false advertising, saying they are boneless wings, when in fact, it's simply just like white meat, like chicken breast that's coated and sauced. And I looked at this ridiculous argument and I could only hope that the judge will be able to, they can file for summary judgment and get this thing thrown out, because this is absolutely ridiculous. And my problem with it is kind of twofold. First of all, are you a moron? Are you a freaking moron? Everybody's got boneless wings and you go there and it's white meat, breaded and sauced. It tastes like a wing, but it's boneless. You might use silverware. I mean, it's got its own positives versus a traditional wing. So I question even the validity of this argument, of this ridiculous lawsuit, from the perspective of you didn't know this. You didn't know this. This isn't a joke, right? We're not on Impractical Jokers, correct? And then the secondary thing is, why on earth? Why on earth do we take these types of cases in our legal system? It just clogs everything up in this litigious society. Everyone, comes up with this baloney. I just cannot believe that some attorney actually took the time to do this and is trying to find other people to join a class action suit. I just am floored by the stupidity of people. And that, folks, is what has me going nuclear this week. Stupid litigious society and people who don't understand what boneless wings are. So yeah, good times. So with that, that's going to bring us to a close to another excellent episode of Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land, presented by Buzz Sports CLE. And want to thank my co-hosts, Megan Donovan and Madison Delaney, for being here. We also want to thank Craig Fountain for helping us be on the air and allowing us to do this show. We will have to get him on, definitely. Everybody go enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Any big plans?
Watching basketball.
Yeah.
Megan?
I mean, I don't know. We'll just see which way the wind blows tomorrow. I might be like picking off groundhogs again. Who knows?
Nice. We need to get some live footage of that. Can you wear a GoPro, please? Next time, we'll do a GoPro.
All right.
Excellent.
I'll do it.
Excellent. All right. Well, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you viewing. As always, please be sure to let your friends know to go to our channel, Going Nuclear CLE. Subscribe. Let your friends know. We'd love to have you watch. Thank you for everybody who chimed in with the comments. Factory of Sadness for Life, Dave Fetzer, Tyson McCulley, and K-Pop. Love having you join us, and look forward to talking to you again next week, where I'm sure we will have more news and more things to go nuclear about in the full-blown coverage of the land. So for Megan Donovan and Madison Delaney, I am Ethan Greenberg saying good night.